Oh, you can kind of step into a slightly sketchy thing and it's not going to be like awkward and wild, you know what I mean? And I don't think you get that unless you try stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so like in trying stuff, yeah, you gain more confidence, I think, period. That's the payoff. Like curiosity and growth, that's the fire.
Melanin goddess that's before me. Hello. Coming up on another act, comedian Sam J joins the show to talk about her new unconventional talk show on HBO and whether or not we're going to see her pull a Monique one day in the near future. Sam J, we love seeing you in front of the camera just as much, if not more, than taking in your comedic writing. How did the concept for Pause come to you in the first place?
Just a lot of conversations, really. You know, me and Prentice and I were developing the show and trying to figure out what it was going to be. And I think we understood what we wanted it to feel like even before we really knew what we wanted it to look like. We talked a bunch, and then when the room started, you know, we were kind of going in one direction, and the more the ideas started to develop, the more I could start to see like the house that was good for it. And then one night I was just hanging with one of the writers and we were talking about the show, and we were hanging at my house drinking some, I think we were drinking Martell, and just, you know, talking about the show and what it could be and what we were excited about. And I was just saying how it still didn't feel quite right, the mechanism that we were using. And I was like, it should just feel like this. It should just feel how this feels. And he was like, yeah, that would be dope. I was like, yeah, like it should be like a kickback. I'm out, like when people come over and there's all different types of people. And we started getting like really excited about that idea. And so I called Prentice and told him about it. And he was like, that sounds really dope. And let's try it. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. How did you and Prentice even get together in the first place?
Good old Hollywood stuff. My manager knows his agent. So he's heard about me, and then my special came out and my manager was kind of like, hey, you guys need to watch this. And he did, and he really dug it and wanted to meet. And so we met over Zoom. We vibed really well and we started to talk about the show, and we just had good chemistry and we kept talking. And then he was like, hey, this is the person. He went to HBO and told them that I was the person that he wanted to do it with. And they were like, cool, we like her. We know her from some stuff. And so just kind of all worked out that way.
Yo, it's open. Come on, bro. It's time to take our lives back, baby. You're not gonna pull me into this.
You in it!
You got the vaccine? You ain't getting it? No, I'm a follower when it comes to that shit. If LeBron posts and say he got it, I'm gonna get it.
If you really want to help me, just make the laws better. They've established a rule of white society.
They want Aunt Jemima off
No,
the start.
I didn't even know the narrative. I thought Uncle Ben was a rice tycoon. I was proud to buy that rice.
You truly have taken late night from behind the desk or a stage or even a panel look, and you really put us in a comfortable environment. We know how you got there, but talk to me about how that maybe changes the course of the interview for you and even the experience that we get on the other side as viewers.
Well, I think it allows me the space to be human and vulnerable. I think when you put yourself behind the desk, you exalt yourself a little bit, and then you have to be correct. I think this allows the space to be wrong. It allows the space to maybe be ignorant about something. It allows the space for like curiosity and growth, which is what I wanted to create.
Yeah, you know, how did you even navigate this path for yourself? Who did you see that was doing this that made you think, I probably could do this too? And if you didn't see someone, how did you get the courage to kind of develop and blaze this path for yourself?
Man, you know, I guess just seeing people do it, like not even if it was necessarily like exactly what I was going to do, but seeing Oprah, just seeing people go out there and knowing their stories, and, you know, seeing Eddie Murphy, seeing Dave Chappelle, seeing Wanda Sykes, just seeing people do it, seeing people just grab life, listening to a lot of Drake, listening to Kanye, you know, listening to Jay-Z, seriously, and just hearing people listening to like Diddy rants, you know, listening to Puff Daddy go off and just going like, hey, like there's people, you know, grabbed life by the horns and decided that it's not going to take them, but they're going to take it. And so if they can do it, then it's possible for me to do it.
Mm, absolutely. Along those lines, I know how vital and important representation is to you. And I want to bring up your 2020 Netflix special, 3 in the Morning, where you talked about the importance of representation and seeing someone Black and gay in this space. And you said, and I quote, "That's why representation matters, man. I didn't realize you could be Black and gay and like flying shit." And I love to revisit that because it remains relevant. How much more important is it now to you that your platform soars even higher and your visibility increases?
Well, when I talk about representation, I'm not even really thinking about TV and like entertainment as much as I'm thinking day to day in our lives. I grew up in Boston. I didn't see a lot of Black police officers. I didn't see a lot of Black people in positions of power, Black politicians, Black doctors, Black principals. Like, to me, that's the most important level of representation because that's the one that you're exposed to first. And it's the one that you're the most vulnerable to. I didn't see other Black lesbians. And when I did, they were dating white women and driving Subarus, and they didn't look like anything I wanted to look like or be like. And so, like, in that regard, representation is very important.
What is fame?
It's crazy. It's like Kanye West had to make College Dropout to get the privileges of a white teenager. One of you will be the first hotep in space. The challenges that lay ahead will put you to the test mentally, physically, astrologically. So if you're a Scorpio, get your shit together. I've been a Black woman way longer than I've been a gay woman, but it's like, who decides what you're supposed to align yourself to?
What does it mean to you that there are people who look like you who are watching you right now and have you as a reference point in a way that you didn't have as a reference point when you were trying to figure out what you wanted to do for a living?
I think it was dope. You know what I mean? I always like when my friends talk about it, I'm like, I just hope there's some like little baby stud who's like, 17 years old, who's like watching me and is like, she ain't even that funny. You know what I mean? Like, I'm way funnier than that. I can probably do this way better. She ain't even like talking it for real. I want someone to feel that way and then to come up and come out and do their version of it. I think that's fire. That's really cool.
I love that. Who's an ideal guest for you? What are you looking for when you sign off and say, this makes sense for Pause?
I mean, just people that fit the narrative, like people that fit the conversation that we're having. And I think I like to talk to people that people aren't really talking to, people that are actually out in the world and doing this stuff and living this stuff on a daily. I wanted to do something and I wanted to like talk to like Barbecue Becky. I thought that would be a great person to talk to. You know what I mean? Like, out of pure curiosity of like, how do you feel now? Looking back on all of it, how do you feel? Why did you do it? Like, what motivated you? Did you really feel unsafe? Did you really feel like this was wrong? Or do you just have a need for order and control? Like, where does it come from? But just genuinely out of curiosity.
How did that Netflix special change everything for you in this town specifically? Did you feel like you were being invited into rooms that maybe you weren't invited into before and your world thusly opened up a little bit more? Or was it not what you expected to have happen?
It was a little bit hard to get a metric for it because we were inside, so I didn't get the like going out afterwards and people were like, oh, I seen it. Oh, I loved it. I didn't get any of that. I was just in the house. But I mean, I don't think I would have gotten an HBO show without it. I think it definitely opened up the conversation. And, an hour special is a chance to display who you are for an hour, like, and to grab someone and go, this is who I am and what I'm about. And so in that, I think, it was an introduction for a lot of people to me. And like, I think the way that it looked and the kind of uniqueness of it was also an introduction to who I am as an artist and a creator. And so I do think that allowed for some more conversations to happen for sure.
What about moving forward? Like, did this maybe change even a trajectory for your career that you hadn't even imagined was possible? Are there things that you now feel like you can comfortably talk about doing for your own future?
I mean, I think the nature of the show and how it was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it did open me up to like, oh, okay, you can interview people, like you're capable of that, or like, oh, you can kind of step into a slightly sketchy thing and it's not going to be like awkward and wild, you know what I mean? And I don't think you get that unless you try stuff. In trying stuff, yeah, you gain more confidence, I think, period. That's the payoff of daring to try something you haven't done.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to see you in other spaces? Is acting something that's significant enough for you to want to take a lead in a project?
Well, I mean, I've been in things here and there, and like I have a show that's coming out on Peacock with Chris Red, Jack Knight, and Langston Kerman called Bust Down, and like it's an ensemble cast, and so, but I'll definitely be carrying more weight than I've ever carried in any other show. Am I like a person that wants to like act? Not really, you know what I mean? Like not in the sense that I wouldn't want to act like I'm Chadwick Boseman or something and like I'm about to go out here and cry and like bust it out for you. But I also can't say that that isn't possible. You know what I mean? Maybe one day I'll Monique Precious you down one time and just, you know, kill it. The right thing comes in the right moment and the right energy, who knows? And I guess that's what it's all done for me, is it just has opened me up to possibilities, period, and to not limiting myself in any direction.
I love that. And I love you. This was so great. Thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was cool.